Yesterday, I had lunch with a few venerables, and then we had some interesting chat uh, about the different practices. Yeah, uh, and so there's this venerable whose uh, teacher is said to have taught the 12 links of dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada, that he's said to have taught it in a way that is confined to this life. Yeah. So I had another discussion on the chat with another venerable about this before. So I cited a few other suttas to 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 look at it, because his teacher in the class on YouTube, or rather the class was recorded and then put on YouTube. So the teaching is, he cited a few suttas and said that, so the Paticca Samuppada, the 12 links, should be within this lifetime. So yesterday we had some discussion. So then that venerable said that it's more that the focus is on this life. Of course, the thing is, oftentimes when I'm quite a confrontational person. Whenever I meet up with some senior monks, and if we happen to talk about Dharma, later my mom will come and tell me that she got some complaint, that she received complaint from the senior monks that I'm quite 不客气. Yeah, that when I talk to them, I am not that I'm rude, but I don't give chance, I don't give face. But oftentimes it's like that. When we are talking about certain things, whether it's Dharma or other matters, tendency for most people is we tend to gloss over things, whitewash things. Yeah. So if you ask me, I don't think yesterday was a conclusive discussion. Yeah. I'm a person who would like really grill dig. But most people are uncomfortable with that. Yeah. And most people are not comfortable to say opposing things. Like, let's say if you have a certain viewpoint A, and I have a certain viewpoint B, and B opposes A. Most people don't feel comfortable to tell you in the face, you're wrong. So about yesterday, so I was asking, like, so according to the Digha Nikaya, the long discourses of the Buddha, it's very clearly stated, when that the Buddha say, with the consciousness entering the womb of the mother as a condition, then name and form arise. So if that's the case, then you cannot possibly say that that consciousness is other consciousness. It's basically the consciousness that arises, that enters the womb, right? I mean, there's no second way to read it. Yeah, then, so to which his reply was basically that, oh, it's more on the emphasis. It's just that, they find that the Buddha's teaching is emphasizing on present life. Yeah. But as I always say, if the other party, whether venerable or lay person, is not present, then it's not fair to bring that person here. That's why I'm not highlighting which venerable. But I just want to highlight two things. One of which is this thing about the teaching, does it span the 3 life, or does it span only 1 life? Actually, there is hang on, I actually have this multiple. Wait, hang on. Let me try to find the can I find? Hang on. Let me see if I can find. If I can find, I can share with you. If I cannot find, then too bad. Heart Sutra, Phong Fa Tuan. Should be with Phong Fa Tuan. No. Okay, maybe what I should do is, let me do this. Let me give you all the exercise for today first. Then those who need to go to work can go to work. So exercise for today is watch your intent when you're doing things. So before you do something, before you say something, try to watch your intent. Watch your intent before you say, before you do something. But in order to do that, you must have done the previous exercises, which is to be aware of your mental states. Otherwise, it's blown over already. So for the most part, you may have to do it after the fact, because it's not so easy to catch as you are starting off. So at least catch your intent after the fact, after you have done it. Okay, this is the exercise for today. Okay, so those who need to go off for work can go ahead first. All right, then I go and look for that thing and show you. Just give me a minute. Where is the Heart Sutra that I showed them yesterday? Oh, maybe this is the one. Yes, this is the one. Okay, I just share the screen. Can you all see this? Cannot. Okay, so this is the notes of the Heart Sutra from 2019. But this way of explanation I've been doing for many years. It's just that after I started using the surface and OneNote, then it's easier to capture and keep it. So I want to zoom into this part, which is the part on the Paticca Samuppada, the 12 links. So usually when we talk about the 12 links, right? Let me get the tablet to write. Let's hope the tablet don't go crazy today. Where's my pen? So, can you all see the screen?
Yes.
And So I want to just do some simple explanation, okay? So follow me with the, try to follow me with the pink color, okay? The red color. Can you all see the red color? So we have
Yes.
无名, right? 无名,无名原形,形原事,事缘名色,名色缘六入,六入缘处,处缘受,受缘爱,爱缘取,取缘有,有缘生,生缘老死。好 okay, so far so good. So we usually see this sequence in the sutra. As a side note, if you look at the Pali canon, there's a lot of other sequences that is not the full 12 links. Okay, it's not the full 12 links. There's also the 10 links. There's, I think, is it 6 or 8 links? No. So when we learn the 12 links, the most common prevalent one is 无名原形 is in the past, then 生老死 is in the future, 有 is somewhere in between, because this 有 usually means that you have died and then you are in the process of taking rebirth. So it's sort of, well, definitely not this life. Yeah. Usually we say it's not this life, and it's not quite next life yet. Okay, it's the precursor to next life, or the you. So so far so good. I must apologize to those who are not so good at Mandarin, Chinese, because I memorized this in Mandarin, in Chinese. Okay, so um, but the truth is, it's more complex than just a serial sequence. Okay, so if you look at this as the middle one, present, so there's 3 sections, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So um, the parts which is sort of active in the present is 四名色六入处受 and 爱取, right? But when we say 无名 is in the past, that's with reference to the present. With reference to the future, then 无名is here as well. Yeah, 无名 is here as well. Yeah, in this life there is 无名, right? There's ignorance, right? And we act in various ways, right? So we can say that when do we actually act? It is when we have the soul, and then after we have the experience of through the senses, then this our ignorance arise here. Yeah, of course it's always happening, but this is where ignorance is active, and then we have the craving happen. Yeah, and somewhere around here, then we act. The sin happens. And because of that, then it plants a seed, plus our grasping and attachment, then propels us to the next life. Yeah. So then how come there's a yo over here? This yo is from the past life. Yeah, this yo is from the past life. Okay. So let me just use another color. So over here, 爱缘取,取缘有. Yeah. Then from this you, then actually is where the consciousness arise, yeah, from this line of this line, and continue with the sequence. And this arising of the shi, we can say that that is the shen. Yeah. Oh. Another way to look at shen is after the shi has entered and then being fully formed, then we shen. And this Lao Shi, the whole process of Lao Shi, spans your whole lifetime. Yeah. So if we look at it this way, then we can encompass the whole 12 links within this life, right? But it is not a serial sequence. It's not a serial sequence. But it doesn't mean that um, this Wu-Ming is only in this life. Because what about how did we start in this life? It is because of past Wu-Ming, the past ignorance and past action that plants a seed that results in the arising over here. Now, yeah, so now if you look at this chart, then you notice it's not just past, present, future, or next life. Then I still put number 4 here, right? Why? Because it's not meant as an end. Until you get liberated, this will perpetuate. This will perpetuate itself and continue. Yeah, and this and so on and so forth. Yeah, and there's not only one life, because this instance itself has past instance. Oh. So yeah, I wanted to share this because at least one or two other students have shared with me before that they attended some other talks, and the Venerable stated that the that the dependent origination teaching is meant to be only one life. Yeah. I don't know whether it's from the same teacher. Yeah, but I think it's not just one. There are a few teachers who actually teach us in this way. Yeah. But I just want to highlight to think that the dependent origination is that the Wu Ming Yuan Xing, yeah, that this part is only in the past life, that is wrong also. Yeah, it happens in this life also. And to think that everything is only in this life, that the Buddha never talked about past life and doesn't care about future life, that's also, to me, an incomplete view. The complete view is messier than the serial 12 links as presented. Why? I'm not saying that the Buddha got it wrong, yeah, but rather the Buddha presented the most what do you call it? The most distilled, or what is the correct term to use? The lowest common denominator. Yeah, the most simple formula that can completely cover the whole sequence. Yeah. But if you want to look at the whole full sequence, you need to expand all the variables out. Yeah. And perhaps that's why in the teachings, when Venerable Ananda exclaimed to the Buddha that he find the 12 links of dependent origination very simple to understand, that he understand it and it's very simple, the Buddha said, no, it's precisely because you don't understand, that's why you think it's simple. It's very deep and profound. Yeah. And I would say that even with that very convoluted multiple sequence, it's actually a simplified model already. Yeah, because even when you look at Wu Ming Yuan Xing, right? Let me just share the screen again. Is it just one Wu Ming Yuan Xing? No. Is it just 10, 100, 1,000? No, a lot. We could even say maybe it's hundreds and thousands and millions of Wu Ming Yuan Xing. Yeah. Or maybe I hesitate to use the word infinite. Yeah. Because infinite means that it's uncountable. Yeah, but yet I also hesitate to give it a number. Yeah. Why? Because our lifespan vary. So it's a very large number. And similarly, in this life, Wu Ming Yuan Xing is also not just one times. It's actually times. Many times. Many times. 100,000, a lot of times. Yeah. And similarly, our Chu, right? 六入 yuan chu, the contact with the six sense bases, through the six sense bases, is it just one time, then gao dim? No, it's a lot of times, every day. From the time you wake up this morning until now is, I don't know how many 100,000 times already, right? Yeah. And that's why if you were to explore all the branches, it's a, it's a very massive network, very massive web. Yeah. And all of that would plant seeds, would plant seeds, plant seeds, some plus, some minus, some plus, some minus, some plus, some minus. All this sequence would plant seeds. Yeah. Then plus the seeds that has been planted in the past, right? All the seeds that has been planted in the past. So our and the seeds are also at the same time ripening. So it's a very complicated process. Yeah. But some of them, in due time, when we are on the verge of death, would ripen. Yeah, it will ripen and propel us to take another existence. Yeah, to grasp on to another existence. Yeah. And that grasping propels us to arise, to cause a new consciousness to arise, and then ultimately go through the process and take birth again. Yeah. So if you consider, um, when we learn about the water cycle, water life cycle, yeah, in school, primary school, we learn, right, elementary science. Then we always learn, oh, from the ocean, the water evaporate, then form clouds and precipitate to form rain. And the rain is always on some mountain one, remember? Yeah. Singapore, where to find mountain? You mean it only rain at Bukit Timah Hill, right? Ours is not even considered mountain by many people. It's just a molehill, right? But when we learn in primary school, it's always that diagram. And then so that you can understand, oh, water flow down, right? But if you look at the data that meteorologists do, you know that meteorologists actually use supercomputer to do weather forecasting. Yeah, and the reason is because it's so complex, they need to do parallel processing to simulate all the different elements in the weather system. Yeah. So I would say in much the same way, when the Buddha come out with the model, if you were to just jump in and describe to you the full plethora, nobody can understand what he's talking about. Yeah. So he identified the key players, yeah, throughout the whole sequence, yeah, that is repeating. All these are repeating. So he just tell you these are the repeating sequence, yeah, and the key thing is, if you continue to have ignorance, yeah, if you continue to have ignorance here, then this will perpetuate itself and there'll be no end to this. Yeah. But if you were to be able to see the full sequence, it's a very massive and messy thing. Yeah. And I am in trouble now because now I cannot undo what I've drawn in. Oh no, I think it's sinking. Oh, it has synced. Jialat, I cannot undo. Uh, never mind, never mind. Anyway, this sequence is in my mind. I can always withdraw it. Yeah. And this is from 2019. Yeah. Mm. But don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. You can go and look at Digha Nikaya. Let me share with you all the link. Yesterday I found the chat that I had with the other venerable. I had a chat with Yi An Fa Si. But Yi An Fa Si is not the one who advocate this, the notion that the 12 links is only within the present life. He was sharing with me about what now? Hang on. Um, yeah, he was sharing with me about the other venerable who actually give teachings that way. Yeah. So give me a second. So the particular sutta, I shared quite a few suttas, but one of the sutta is in the Digha Nikaya, oh, in the Digha Nikaya. And it is Digha Nikaya 15. Y'all can go and find. Okay? Digha Nikaya number 15, 1-5. Okay? So, and I read, uh, if consciousness were not to descend into the mother's womb, would name and form take shape in the womb? Yeah. So, I mean, unless you are saying that, oh, Digha Nikaya 15 is actually a fabrication of later scholars, then the question I want to ask people is, are we coming up with a conclusion and then examining the evidence? You all understand? And this is the second part I want to get you all to think about. When we want to determine whether something is true or not, do we first arrive at the conclusion and then we examine the evidence? This is different from having a hypothesis that the conclusion is A and then examining the evidence. Okay? Hypothesis means you don't consider the result as a foregone conclusion. Okay? It just means that you hypothesize, you postulate that this is a possibility. But when you examine the evidence, you examine it as it is. You don't weigh in on the evidence based on the conclusion. Rather, you weigh in on the conclusion based on the evidence. The evidence take priority. Yeah, it takes precedence. Yeah, because this is how causality works, ma. You have this, then you have that. Uh, but what I find is that it's easy for us to be blindsided sometimes when we are um, looking at um, when we are having discussion, yeah, trying to find out what is the truth. Yeah, I say this not because I am 100% always doing this. I say this precisely because I catch myself sometimes doing the wrong way. Yeah. Uh, so this is very crucial. You know, this is very crucial. And that's why whenever I sometimes talk to people and I ask them, why did you do that? And the person come up with a lot of explanation. Then and I get a sense that this is an explanation given after the fact. Then I'll ask them, that is a good explanation, but is that what went through your mind when you were doing it? Uh, so we have to be careful sometimes when people ask us why we do something, to be able to distinguish between what is a valid explanation for that action after the fact versus what went through our thinking process when it happened. Yeah. Granted, most people are not aware of that thinking process, so cannot be helped, right? Yeah. But uh, it doesn't mean that that is the correct way. Yeah. Because that way is just justifying our actions. It's not really explaining our actions. As in, um, it's not relating the truth. Uh, uh, so um, in a very convoluted way, it's linked to the exercise for today, which is catching our intent. Uh, uh, because if we are not clear about that sequence, then easy to end up just justifying. Yeah. But don't beat yourself over it also, because you are not enlightened. Yeah. But the least we should be able to do or start to try to do is to be aware that we have this tendency because we are not enlightened. Then we can take steps to um, sort of mitigate them, to keep it in check. So that maybe in the past, 100% of the time, we are always explaining, justifying. Then now that we are aware, maybe we are only aware 60% of the time, and 40% of the time we are not aware that we are justifying. And out of the 60%, maybe 60% of the time we can do correction. So in total, how many percent? 36% of the time. Yeah. Maths. Some of you, stressed. Wow, 师傅，Max 高考老师了。Yeah, slowly, pace yourself. Okay. So have a good day ahead. Reflect.
Shifu, I think there's a question from Irene from CIS.
Oh, that's a question. I thought I saw a one there. Then I thought it's students saying bye bye, Shifu. Let me take a look. So the Wu Ming here is not ignorance as a general term we always say as a defilement. No, it is. It is that same Wu Ming.
But Shifu, just now when you draw the Wu Ming from the past life, you times 100 can times 1,000. So are you counting the number of Wu Ming we have in a one past life, two past life, three past life? Or when you say the number, what you are referring to?
Oh, I am counting.
So counting as in the Wu Ming from each of the past life. That's why you say.
No, it's not just each of the past life. That in
every
each
moment of our ignorance arising.
In each, every moment.
Okay.
And that's why I say that it is more like infinite. Yeah, but I hesitate to use terms like infinite because that is quite an absolute term. Yeah. Those of you who have talked to me before, or should I say argue with me before, you'll notice that I almost never use absolute terms. Yeah, you see, even this statement is not absolute, almost never. Yeah, and I started noticing this about myself over time, and it is not because I'm trying to argue to win, but it's because I think in part the training in computer engineering, in logic, and also in JC we learn about the mathematical induction, how if you want to disprove a statement that is where all x, you just have to show for one x, you can disprove it. Yeah, like let's say for example, you say you are always late, right? Have you ever heard of that? Someone saying you are always late, you're always this, you're always that. Then almost without fail, the reply is always, no, that one time what? And that is logically correct. And therein lies the problem because in most of our daily speech, we don't speak with such rigor of philosophy and logic. Yeah, we're quite loose. English is quite a loose language in that sense. Yeah, but it can be used in a very tight way. Yeah. So sometimes when people talk to me, they may feel I'm picking on their words, but rather it's not so much picking, but it's more of we have to be clear about what we are saying. The trouble is most of the time we are just very loosely, figuratively speaking, things like that. Yeah. But if you really think about it, this is what leads to a lot of, number one, misunderstanding and a lot of unnecessary conflict. Yeah. But we Chinese, we like to what? 不拘小节, right? We like to appear very magnanimous and don't go into the details. And as a result, when shit hits the fan, oh, so say shit. That's the word you all understand. I use other words you all don't understand. So when shit hits the fan, then the detail is important, right? Then when you go into detail, then I thought that time you say every time also can. No ma, I say every time doesn't mean every time. Huh? That's the problem. That's why 古人说先小人而后君子. Yeah. meaning that upfront, be 小人, be a small guy, be a petty person, be a calculating person upfront. So when you are first discussing things, be very intimate about details. As gentlemen, as intimate as possible. Okay, but later on, after you have set down all the boundaries, when you are executing, then be a true gentleman. Yeah, where yes, you did draw a line, but when there's a bit of plus minus 5%, no problem. Huh? I understand. Yeah. But most of the time, we Chinese, our habit is, so when do you need it? Anytime lah, when you're free, when you're free. Then one day later, hey, how's the thing? Oh, I'm busy, I get back to you. The next day, hey, how? I thought you say anytime, right? then what will happen is the other person also want to appear and magnanimous, right? They say, yeah, it's okay. Then take your time. Then after I go to tell other people, that person Bei Zhi Dong one no. Well, need me to spell out. Yeah, of course need you to spell out. Otherwise, how I know? But this, I didn't realize that we have this cultural problem though, until I meet with other people from other countries, and as I talk to more people, then I realize, yeah, we Chinese, we never learned this in school, no, but we are like that. So have a 小人 day ahead. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, so Sifu.
Yes.
Actually, actually, my English not so good one.
Oh.
So I just now you ask a question. What's your intent? Mandarin is say what like 意图啊？
就是要去看你的起心动念。
哦 ，OK。
好，就是你要做什么事情的时候，你还没讲任何事情的之前呢，你先去注意你的起心动念。
就是我们的那个
动机
概念，OK。
动机主要是我们的动机我要讲这句话，我为什么要讲这句话？我要做这件事情，为什么要做这件事情？包括什么？包括很微细的，我们就点个头，但是那个很微细了。包括我们就站一边，就连这边也是有事情哦。其实这边是有事情，但是时间比较迟了，因为我这边还有一个故事，但是不能一直讲故事了。
可以，好，谢谢师。
好 ，OK，everybody clear？ 都清楚吗？わかりますか？皆さん。講了解嗬 ？OK， 了解，行了。
了解了。
好，
師傅。
再見啦。
Thank you，師傅。
好啊。
謝謝師傅。
再見啦。OK，拜拜。